Biden gave his farewell address to the nation last night, and the nation responded, "But were you ever really there? I thought you were just sleeping on a beach the whole time. I thought you were just riddled with dementia the whole time." Farewell, Biden. May he rest in peace. I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your Dumpster Fire. Welcome to Dumpster Fire, where we make burgers out of your sacred cows. Biden gave his farewell address Wednesday night, or rather, it aired at night, but it appears to have been recorded sometime during the day, and they blacked out the windows behind it and make it look like it was recorded at night, but we all know Biden clocks out completely at 4 p.m. these days, so there's no way he would have been coherent at that time of night.
What time is it?
It's 4:15 p.m.
It was a bad speech. It was ominous, too.
My farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern.
I think he's probably the first president in the history of presidents who went out on the note of, hey, we need more censorship. I think America needs a little bit more censorship.
Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
And he wanted to warn the country of some things that gave him great concern.
It's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people.
Oh, you mean all the ultra wealthy people who donated to your campaign? You crazy dementia riddled old man like George Soros? Democrats had so much money, and people seem to forget that Biden didn't even run for president. They're like, oh, he lost. Biden didn't lose, guys. Kamala lost. That's what's so funny in this weird transition is it seems they've kind of made it seem like Biden lost. I don't know how we've just all erased the fact that Kamala spent like $1 billion losing the race to Trump.
In 3 months.
In 3 months when they swapped him out. They had plenty of money behind them. It's just when it's not their oligarchs.
Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy.
It's just when the oligarchs aren't on their side that they get worried about the concentration of power. Oh no, the oligarchs. Not all of the oligarchs are for us. They're so mad that they lost control of the narrative. They can barely stand it. And you have guys like Jim Acosta who are now crying about the loss of the free press.
Journalists exist to seek the truth, to tell people's stories, to lift up voices that may not be heard otherwise, to shine a light on injustice, and to hold the powerful accountable.
Red Steez, Stephen Miller joking, sorry your vacation's over, Jim. Because they all checked out for 4 years. Biden was also talking about the fear that Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power.
We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power.
This is fucking insane coming from this administration. There's no one who's enabled the abuse of power with the use of misinformation and disinformation. Then the Biden administration in cahoots with pressuring all these tech companies, as Mark Zuckerberg just kind of came out and told everybody, as well as the very friendly press that never asks any questions. Social media is giving up on fact-checking, he said.
The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit.
Oh, shiver my timbers. Shut up, man.
The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. I'm sorry. The truth is smothered by lies? You mean like the truth that you have dementia and haven't been home for all of your presidency? Truths like that? The truth like the Hunter Biden laptop was real, which you pressured then Twitter into censoring before an election? The truth like it was more than likely a lab leak, which I don't even know if I can say on YouTube because we have censors everywhere.
Woo, 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 woo.
You, more than anyone, have pressured Americans into self-censoring and pressured tech companies into censorship than probably anyone in the history of America. It is fucking insane. And now you have these warriors like Jim Acosta, who loves himself so much, being so excited that they get to be the like free speech hero. Is like, we're going to battle for truth and for power. You guys haven't done anything for 4 years. I have no problem with people holding everyone accountable, but that's the problem, is that no one ever gets held accountable on the Democratic side by the mainstream media, which is how the mainstream media lost their entire audience. And now they're mad, and they're mad that they completely lost this election. Here's the other thing that makes me insane. Michael Malice and I were talking about this on Watkins Welcome. So 2008 or 2012, all of left-wing media is like, Obama knows how to use social media. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
It was all about like, Obama knows how to use social media. The right is never going to win an election ever again. They've got the young people. They were in advance of the curve, and they know how to reach the people online. And then the minute Trump, I think this was Malice saying this, tweets his way into the White House in 2016, and they're like, we need to shut this down. This is misinformation. This is a gross abuse of power. These tech companies have too much power. It's just when the power doesn't roll in their direction that suddenly they're like, oh no, these tech companies, they have too much power if it's not working in their way. And then Trump goes on a podcast run and talks to all of the podcasts that service primarily independents, disaffected voters, people who don't generally come out, people who have been pushed out of the left or left the left for a myriad of reasons, and goes on this tour and then wins the election again. And now they're like, this is misinformation and disinformation that's being pushed. Like, look, guys, it's the genie's out of the bottle. It's just like AI. You're not putting this back in the bottle.
You should have let me sleep.
And any government that does push for this and says this is fucking terrifying. Anytime I hear the words, oh, we need to worry about misinformation or disinformation, we need to stop the flow of misinformation, we need to stop the disinformation, just replace those words with people. Just replace it with people, because that's what they don't want. They don't want the people to have any say in this. They don't want the people to be able to listen to different points of view. They want complete and total control over whatever it is that you're hearing, and the complete narrative. They don't want any kind of alternative points of view. And we lived through that for a while there, and it was dark during the Biden years. Look at all the freaking weird words that everybody has to use on the internet now. They have to say red rum. We have had ridiculous strikes for no apparent reason. If you even talk about pew pew, you will get censored. I think Goran Thumb's entire channel just got demonetized again. There's very little freedom. These companies have so much power. And thank God, Elon, even though he's a mercurial billionaire with thin skin who will probably block me eventually for making him mad and leak all of my DMs, even though he might do that, he's still better than all these other like companies. I'm happy to be putting these years behind us. The Biden years, they have been horrible. Good day, sir. I said good day.
You get nothing. You lose.
Before our next segment, don't forget to like, subscribe, touch my bells and buttons, and tell your friends about us. Please help us reach our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Can I do the shady shuffle?
The shady shimmy.
The shady shimmy.
He had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators.
Freaking creeper. I'm talking about Newsom. You have to stick around through the ad to see the weather report, guys. Sorry, them's the rules. Today's episode is brought to you by Sheath Underwear, and I love this sponsor, as you know. This is the part in the show where I talk about my husband's balls. Their patented dual pouch system is revolutionary. It cradles your balls and my husband's lovingly in their own pouch. There's a separate pouch for the genitalia. It keeps everything separate from the legs, so you're nice and comfortable and nothing nothing is sticking together, which is ick. Why would you do that? There's technology now, guys, for your nuts. Everyone who tries these underwear swears they'll never go back. My husband won't wear anything else. And there's also a women's line, which I am always wandering around the house in, and it makes my bum look very cute. They have new patterns coming out all the time, new designs, new styles. They are the greatest underwear that has ever graced the balls of man. It's Sheath underwear, the underwear of legends. Go to sheath.com and use the promo code Dumpster to get 20% off your next order. That's sheath.com, promo code Dumpster to get 20% off. The link is in the description below. And now it's everyone's favorite part of Dumpster Fire. Let's check the weather with Diana Alvarado.
Baje nuestro territorio para el día jueves, dejando un ligero descenso en la temperatura y el aumento en los vientos para el día de mañana. Veamos ahora el pronóstico para estos siguientes 3 días. Los días estarán agradables por la tarde.
Thank you, Diana. Women! The House on Tuesday voted 2018 to 206 to pass Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, which bans biological men in girls' sports.
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman.
According to the 19th News Network, which is apparently very pro men invading women's spaces, ironically, the ban also calls for the Government Accountability Office to conduct a study on any adverse psychological and developmental effects felt by girls, they say cisgender girls, but I refuse to use that word, playing sports with transgender girls. Yeah, this is actually important because you would think that they should be talking to people like Riley Gaines and Paula Scanlon and the thousands of women who have been exposed to penises in their locker rooms against their own will. It's ridiculous, insane, and frankly, insulting. And it's also probably considered assault in many states if you actually look at it. And it's bullshit that these women have no recourse and that they're gaslit, their families are gaslit. They're told that they're the ones who are bigots and that they need to go seek therapy for being bigots in many of the colleges and the schools where they will come forward and complain. It is insane that we even need to pass this law. I was laughing reading about it because you read it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, against like men and women's sports.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
This is what clown world we are in, that our Congress needs to be even debating this. This law should not even have to exist. This is a very basic thing that most people with common sense and most of America has been very clear about. They don't want men in women's locker rooms. They don't want men in women's bathrooms. They don't want men in women's sports. They don't want men in women's prisons. They don't want kids getting drugs and chopped up and having body parts removed. Americans, believe it or not, have a lot of common sense when it comes to this topic. So I don't know why this even needs to be a bill, but it does show how far down this rabbit hole we've gone. And the fact that it is even still this close is embarrassing after the last election when, again, Americans were very vocal about this being a primary issue that turned them out to vote for Republicans. And nope, no one cares.
Well, the coverage on this, too, is crazy. You know, like on the right, it's, you know, the House has passed the Protection of Women and Girls Act in sports. And on the left, it's the House votes to ban trans girls from women's sports in schools.
Here's the problem that I hate about this whole entire discussion is that they try to act like it's separate from transing kids. Downhill from this debate where people are saying, I don't want any of this. I don't want my girls losing scholarships to boys. I don't want boys in the locker room. Very common sense stuff. They'll say, oh, this is separate from the whole trans conversation, and they're actually being bigoted against trans people. Well, no, downstream of this discussion is also people trying to justify the use of hormones early, because then they try and say, oh, well, if you get them on hormones early, that competitive advantage disappears. So don't fucking act like this is not inherently part and parcel of trying to justify putting kids on medications when they're not even of age of consent. It is absolutely part of it. And they lie about that too. They say that there's no competitive advantage, which is actually not true. They use this as a reason to try and justify putting kids on hormones early. And then they say that there's no competitive advantage even after they've gone through puberty, which is just patently false as well.
Well, there's a line in this story that says, research has found that trans women who undergo testosterone suppression through gender-affirming care have no clear biological advantages over cis women in elite sports. A, I don't think that's true. But B, there is no requirement for these trans women to undergo testosterone suppression to compete in women's sports.
No.
They just have to declare that they're women and then they get to compete.
Yeah, it's self-ID. It's almost all of the laws are self-ID. You self-ID into women's prisons. You don't have to have any kind of transitioning at all in many cases. And then there's this argument too that they're rewriting Title IX. They already rewrote Title IX. They rewrote Title IX to have it be allowing self-identifying trans women into whatever space they basically wanted without any care for the rights of actual biological women. And now they're trying to say that they're rewriting Title IX when it's already been rewritten. And we're trying to undo all of this nonsense because it shouldn't be that way. And it certainly shouldn't be tied to any federal funding. And AOC got up and gave some huge rant. She said, and there are women bleeding out in the parking lots across the country.
As women are bleeding out in parking lots across the country.
And there are women bleeding out in the parking lots across the country.
Standing there, allowing us to die.
And I'm like, not one example? Are there women bleeding out in parking lots across the country? We tried to search for it.
We couldn't find any.
It brings up a horrifying trail of murdered women. I don't recommend Googling that but not one single thing about, I'm assuming she means miscarriages or abortions. I was like, there must have been one case of this.
We couldn't even find one. We were trying to find the one case she might have been talking about, and we couldn't even find that.
No. Some Democrats portrayed the bill as a child predator empowerment act, saying that it would accelerate national crisis of sexual assault on women and young girls. Now, look, if I've learned anything, it's that pedos are everywhere and predators are everywhere, but especially men who want to get into women's spaces. See how this works? Here's the other thing that I don't understand. You guys are the fucking creepy weirdos who are talking to kids about their genitals and their sexuality and whether they think they're boys or girls or not. That started with you, all of you. This is the craziest thing about this whole debate for me, or this discussion, is that we segued directly from an era of Me Too. There was so much, the patriarchy. This is patriarchy so crafty. Everywhere you turned, it was every man's a rapist, every man's a predator. Normal women like me had to be like, calm down, not every man is a rapist. That was like what we had to discuss from like 2013 to about 2018. And then suddenly the goalpost completely moved and it was from Me Too to He Too. Now it's just let men everywhere. Let any man anywhere he wants to go. No female spaces are allowed anymore. I don't understand how we got here so fast. From every man's a rapist, well, except those guys pretending to be women in the locker rooms. They're absolutely not rapists.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
These guys are fine, I'm sure. They're fine. What are you so worried about, ladies?
He told me he felt like a woman today, so he must be allowed access to our spaces.
Oh, we had a boner in the spa? I don't see why you care.
What if he rapes me? What if she rapes you? You fucking turf whore.
Oh, if he flashed you out in the park, that's a crime, but boner in the spa, completely acceptable if he calls himself a woman.
Oh, he's making you uncomfortable? Well, I think your bigotry is making him uncomfortable.
Oh, you don't want to suck his dick, lesbian? Well, you're a bigot. Like, sorry, no. I'll go full AOC on ya, and you need to get out of here with that. You've all heard me screaming, women! fun for years now. I'm a big advocate for women in general and women's health in particular. That's why I love Quest's line of medical tests specifically focused on women's health issues. They offer a basic women's health profile test that gives you a snapshot of your current health and wellness, women's hormone test designed to identify imbalances associated with various health conditions, and specific tests for fertility, thyroid function, and even your menopause stage. I think their line of fertility and menopausal tests are amazing. You can take an ovarian reserve assessment marker, AMH test, to get an indication of your egg quantity. They also have a pre-pregnancy panel, a perimenopausal test for women in my condition to help you determine if you're entering perimenopause, an early menopausal test, and a postmenopausal test. This is all such important knowledge for women to have, and I don't think it's talked about enough. The best part is that you can get all this information without a doctor's visit. So ladies, prioritize your health and visit questhealth.com. Men, they also have tests for you as well. And use the code FIRE to get 25% off. That's questhealth.com and use the code FIRE for 25% off. Link is in the description below.
Phetasy News.
If you love Dumpster Fire, the best thing you can do is become a supporter at Phetasy.com. It's truly how we pay the bills. It's truly how we stay independent. We rely on you and obviously our sponsors. So support the people who support us. You get the unedited version of the Dumpster Fire. And we leave a lot of inappropriate things on the cutting room floor, a lot of rants, a lot of back and forth. We are changing the Dumpster Fire launch schedule. They will now launch Tuesday and Friday evenings at 8 p.m. for the foreseeable future. We moved Walk-Ins Welcome off of this YouTube channel, so please everyone go subscribe to our new YouTube channel. Run over there, Walk-Ins Welcome with Bridget Phetasy. There's a link in the description just to keep it easy for you. Thank you to everybody who helps make Dumpster Fire possible. Thank you to our sponsors. We would not exist without you. Thank you, most importantly, to you, our audience, subscribers, supporters. Truly, you keep our lights on and you keep us going. I got an email from one of you the other day that was like, Dumpster Fire helps keep me sane. And I'm often like, why am I doing any of this other than for my own amusement? And I get those emails and I'm like, oh, this is why, because I am connecting to you and we have so much fun. Maggie and I do have so much fun doing
really
this.
do.
We do. It is so much work and time and effort, and we are fucking psychos and we'll never give it up. So you're stuck with us, America. And now to cleanse your palate, the internet is glorious. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo.
That was so tired.
Remember, life is absurd. Don't take yourself so damn seriously. Take the work seriously. Don't take yourself seriously. That's no fun. This has been your Dumpster Fire. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich! Woohoo! Like an oligarch, so I can be your oligarch overlord. Bwahaha.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns.